All right, settle in, because today I am telling you a story from my time overseas that has stuck with me ever since. It's about our medic, a guy we'll call Doc. Now, Doc wasn't what you'd picture when you think of a soldier. He was skinny, wore these thick glasses, and always had a book in his hand. He was quiet, always calm, and frankly a bit of an easy target for some of the tougher guys in the unit. They'd rib him constantly, calling him soft, saying he was just there to hand out bandages and couldn't handle the real stuff. Doc never let it get to him. He'd just give a small smile and go back to organizing his medkit or studying his manuals. We'd be out there practicing drills, sweating buckets, and he'd be off to the side, practicing for insertions on a training dummy, completely in his own world. Some of the guys thought he was disconnected, that he wouldn't have their backs when it really mattered. They couldn't have been more wrong. The day it all changed started like any other, hot, dusty, and tense. We were on a routine patrol in a village known for being a bit of a hornet's nest. The air was thick with a kind of nervous energy you could almost taste. We moved through the narrow alleyways, trying to be as quiet as a dozen guys loaded with gear can be. Suddenly, that quiet was shattered. An explosion ripped through the air just ahead of our lead element. It was deafening, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and debris. Chaos erupted instantly. Shouting, confusion, the ringing in our ears. When the dust started to settle, the scene was grim. 2 of our guys were down, and they were down hard. One was Sergeant Miller, one of the guys who gave Doc the most grief. He was conscious but screaming. His leg was a mess. The other, a private named Evans, was unnervingly still. Panic started to set in. We were exposed, and we knew an attack could follow the blast. Everyone was shouting orders, trying to establish security, but your training only takes you so far when you see your buddies on the ground like that, and that's when I saw him. Through the swirling dust and confusion, Doc was moving. It was like a switch had flipped. The quiet, bookish guy was gone. In his place was this machine of pure focus. He didn't run, he moved with this incredible purpose. Low to the ground, his medkit already open as he slid in next to Evans. He didn't even flinch. His hands were a blurch, eching for a pulse, ripping open bandages, his voice suddenly sharp and commanding. I need pressure here, now. He barked at the nearest guy, who was frozen in shock. The soldier snapped out of it and did what he was told. Doc spent maybe 30 seconds on Evans, his face a mask of concentration. Then he shook his head slightly, a barely perceptible movement. And you just knew. It was a gut punch to all of us. But Doc didn't have time for grief. He was already moving to Sergeant Miller, who was thrashing and yelling. "Stay still, Sarge, I've got you." Doc's voice was different now. It was firm, but also incredibly calming. Miller was a big guy, panicked and in agony, but Doc handled him like he weighed nothing. He cut away the pants leg with shears, his hands steady as a rock despite everything happening around us. "It's not as bad as it looks," he said, even though we could all see it was terrible. He worked with a speed and precision that was just mesmerizing. Applying a tourniquet, packing the wound, starting an IVIT was like watching a surgeon in an operating room, not a medic in the middle of a dusty, dangerous alley. In those few minutes, everything changed. The guys who used to mock him were now his assistants, holding plasma bags, handing him supplies, following his every command without question. He was in complete control of the chaos. He stabilized Miller, got him packaged for evac, and directed the whole thing with an authority no one had ever seen from him before. He saved Sergeant Miller's leg that day, and probably his life. Later, back at the base, the entire dynamic of the unit had shifted. No one ever called him soft again. They looked at him with a mix of awe and deep respect. Sergeant Miller, once he was stable, asked to see him. I wasn't there for it, but the story went that he just grabbed Doc's hand and couldn't he say anything for a minute, just choked up. That day, we all learned a powerful lesson. Strength isn't always about being the loudest or the toughest. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the quiet one who, when everything falls apart, is the only one who knows how to put it back together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.